This channel's real, this channel's about documenting, this channel's about talking, having an open opinion. And let's get started. Say whoa, say whoa. Say whoa. Head of a horse, the body of a man. Unidentified flying object. Welcome back to another video.
You go to the ice wall and prove the earth is flat, stupid flirter. This is a typical NPC line from what I like to call globe trolls. I know you'll be watching this, so take note. It is for such supreme moments as this that men brave the hardships of exploration. The astounding, undreamed of fact is that they are over a chain of warm water lakes, whose shores, except for small patches, are free of ice and snow. Commander Bunker circles the largest lake in sight.
Could there be a possibility that that's the way it looks on the other side of that ice wall in Antarctica? Now, to me, if there's not anything on the other side of that ice wall, why do they guard it so much? Why is it not allowed to just explore and go out there and just see for ourselves what's over there? Why is it guarded so much? Now, like I said before, I'm not saying this is real, but look at all the intricate details. Look at this city. Now, I know there's a lot of maps that do talk about cities underneath the ice caps and even on the other side of these ice caps. And there's even maps out there, which I am going to show one. So could these maps show beyond the ice wall? And also, are there passages where you could get beyond the ice barrier as well?
See, the thing about the ice wall is, this is what separates us from extraterrestrial creatures and extraterrestrial lands. They tell you the real world map looks like this, to divide us up and to make things look bigger than they are. But the real world map should look something like this. Each specific land has its own ice wall, and there are extraterrestrial lands and creatures outside of each specific land. The only reason they're coming out about aliens and ETs being real is only because ETs exist beyond the ice wall, not in space. And it's far more likely for ETs and other creatures to exist beyond this ice wall and to come to our land. And they know this, and this is why they have conferences about ETs. because they're not in space. They're beyond the ice wall, or really, really, really deep in the ocean. We're also in the age of Aquarius, so more information and unknown things will be shown to us. And they know that. They're just only preparing us for it.
This is the tale of the navigator who crossed the ice walls, part 2. The story begins with a group of men who fought for the Continental Navy in the Revolutionary War. During the war, the men were telling naval stories when it came to Captain Butler. And Butler talked about lands that he knew possibly existed beyond Antarctica, beyond the ice wall. Upon hearing these stories, the men were captivated, and as a group, they decided to pursue these lands after the war. Shortly after General Cornwallis surrenders in Yorktown, one of the men on the crew, named William Morris, decided to buy one of the naval ships. This is the ship that they'd use on their epic adventure, and wasting no time, they'd set sail in November 1781. They'd shove off in Charleston, North Carolina, and 6 months later, they'd sail around South America, and they'd end up at the William Morris Strait right here. And in late spring, early summer 1782, as the ice caps melted, a current would pull them through the ice wall, and they'd end up in the waters unknown. The water was like nothing the men had ever seen before. They were so deep, they were black. After successfully navigating one of the summer gates, Captain Butler was getting ready to have a word with the men, when one of the sailors quickly descended from the crow's nest, yelling, "They're coming towards us! It's something gigantic!" As the crew redirects their attention towards the horizon, his feet hit the deck with a thud. The crew immediately notices a massive ship, and it's closing in fast. The craft was the likes of which nothing the crew had ever seen. It was made from a material they didn't recognize, and it was black as night. Their hearts pounded with fear as the unknown approached. But all the owner of the ship, William Morris, could think about was that their trip was going to be ended abruptly. We made it this far only to get cut short, he thought. But then Captain Butler reassured them that everything would be all right. Just stay calm. A sense of relief swept over Mr. Morris, but he was still fearful of what was to come. At this point, the ship was just a couple hundred yards out, when suddenly it emitted a sound like nothing they've ever heard. It pierced the airwaves, almost bringing the men to their knees. Luckily, just moments later, the sound stopped. That's when a loud voice with a perfect English accent emitted from some kind of horn. "Dear gentlemen from the walled lands, some of our men are coming down to approach your boat. Please remain calm, as we will do you no harm." The message sent a chill down the crew's spine, unsure as to whether or not they were going to attack. At this point, they knew there was no escape.
I'm going to tell you a number of things, but you really only have to remember 2 words. Governments lie. Very important to remember. Governments lie. I mean, not just the American government. Governments in general lie. Now, when I say all governments lie, that may sound like an anarchist statement.
No ice around any of these areas, okay? There's North America, South America, Africa, India, Russia, China. Okay, so very similar to this map. North America, South America, Africa, India, China, Russia, okay? Only thing different, Australia. There is no Australia here because it hasn't been discovered yet. This is 1587. Australia wasn't discovered until 1606. So that's why that's not there. But my main question is, if this is a globe flattened out and this is on the bottom, right? What the fuck is this? There's no ice on it. And guess what? Antarctica hadn't been discovered yet. Antarctica was discovered in 1820. And if you look, oh look, there's an alligator, there's a camel, warm weather animals. So, you want to explain to me, first thing, what the hell is this, all this land? And second thing, what froze them? What happened between 1587 and 1892 where those areas got frozen? No ice.
So, a new video has just been released from the dark web which shows what appears to be pyramids in Antarctica. So I sent this video to someone who has been over there, and they said that these things do actually exist there, and that they're actually energy conductors. Now, this is coming from the guy that said he went to the continent of Patasia back in 2020, and he traveled in a submarine over to the ice wall, over here the Leviathan's Gate, and he saw those pyramids at the ice wall. And this guy isn't the first person who has said that the pyramids had energy properties. I mean, look at a computer motherboard compared to a sky view of the pyramid in Egypt. It is pretty much exactly the same, so perhaps the ancient Egyptians were doing some kind of massive technological electric thing. There's seriously so many weird things in this world that we gotta go and figure this all out.
I have seen the photographs of humanoids that are based in Antarctica, and that what he has seen with his own eyes 2 miles down under ice are hieroglyphs that archaeologists that he was in, that was the mission, was a scientist had been in there studying all this ancient archaeology 2 miles down under the ice. And the Navy SEAL gets to walk one of these huge rooms, 9-acre rooms, ceilings. One SEAL tells me he's been there in 2012. The SEAL that I have been able to videotape, voice altered in background, he was there in 2004, so I have two completely different SEALs. They're describing exactly the same kind of architecture.
A defecting Russian scientist has surfaced with a mind-bending account of what really occurred when he and his colleagues went missing for 5 days in a mysterious lake 12,366 feet beneath the Antarctic ice. Dr. Anton Padalka told authorities in Switzerland that the researchers discovered a bizarre and deadly life form dubbed Organism 46b, a highly intelligent octopus-like creature that claimed the lives of 3 of the team members.
Scientist in Antarctica accidentally released this monster. On February 13th, this Google Earth image capturing what looked like a giant spider was posted online by a user named Sonophantom. The user went on to describe how his father experienced strange things while stationed as a medical doctor at the McMurdo base. As the only doctor on site, the user's father was said to double up as a pathologist and often received bodies that seemed like they were attacked by something very large, but strangely enough, was always told to report the cause of death as hypothermia. As the user's father started digging into things, he realized his access was slowly being revoked, and soon his superior told him that he was going to be discharged shortly. However, after the base heard about what happened to the user's father, a troubled soldier he had been treating recounted how he and his team were attacked by spiders the size of greyhounds while defending a research base, and that his entire team was taken out, with him being the only survivor.
Buzz Aldrin saw the devil himself in Antarctica. Listen closely, it's terrifying. In 2016, a satellite captured an image of what experts believe to be a massive pyramid in Antarctica. Now, if it indeed was a pyramid, it would be the largest pyramid ever found on Earth, bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is about 230 meters wide. This pyramid in Antarctica would be 2,000 meters wide. Apparently, in 2016, Buzz Aldrin and his team assembled and went to Antarctica to explore and verify this colossal pyramid. They wanted to see it for themselves, but this is where it gets crazy. During the expedition, Buzz Aldrin had a heart attack. He was hospitalized for days, but when he fully recovered and left the hospital, he tweeted something strange but quickly deleted it. It said, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself. What is he talking about? Because I don't want to find out." Someone close to Buzz said they spoke with him and he said this. Buzz said one thing, and he just said, "We thought out things we shouldn't implement." What do you mean by that? What did they find? Buzz Aldrin also shared several chilling photos.
There's this very strange video circling the internet of what's supposed to be a very strange creature found frozen in Antarctica. I'm gonna show you guys this video. Pay very close attention.
We got something big right there. So let's see what it is. Oh, there is another air balloon. What? I can't understand. What is that thing? What the heck? Ah! This is a monster head!
What actually looks like some sort of humanoid creature can be seen in the video. I have no idea if this is some sort of alien humanoid creature or what the heck is this, but I found little information about this video. Check this out.
I just cannot believe my eyes! Guys! Oh my gosh! That's a monster head! Look! That is his eyes! His giant mouth! That's his head! Or maybe there's a whole body of a monster right under the...
leading to suggestions of a lost civilization. Scientists, however, think that this is a natural phenomenon known as pareidolia, where the mind perceives a familiar pattern where none actually exists. The most provocative theories suggest that ancient alien civilizations could have once made their home on the icy continent, pointing towards supposed pyramid-like structures visible beneath the ice, though these claims are yet to find any substantial scientific backing. So, what is the truth?
News, but Antarctica is claiming that they saw an alien. I'm not joking either. I mean, a few years ago, NASA did try to prove that aliens do live on Mars because of some footage that was taken. Is it possible that one has landed in Antarctica, or is it all just a hoax? What do you guys think?
News, guys, scientists just discovered this lurking in the ocean near Antarctica. This is the strawberry feather star. It has 20 arms branching off of its strawberry-shaped body where it got its name, obviously. And sadly, this is a real thing. It looks like something kind of familiar. And to make it even scarier, it can live to the depths of 200 to 3,000 feet deep. It can range in color from this color to a dark purplish or even dark red. And the closest other animals it's related to is starfish, sea urchins, and sea cucumbers. However, this thing can swim freely through the water. So guys, this thing was just discovered in Antarctica after 10 years of research, so imagine what else is out there. It's freaky, follow for more.
Russian scientists found a hyper-intelligent sea monster in Antarctica. In 1974, Russian scientists at the Vostok Research Outpost Station discovered that there was actually a subglacial lake 2 miles beneath them. It took almost 30 years to get through the thick ice, meaning that whatever was below it was thousands of years old. The first team of divers to explore the lake encountered a 33-foot-long, 14-tentacle squid. It released a toxin into the water to immobilize 3 members of the team, eventually killing them. It was only after returning with backup that the scientists were able to cage the creature. The creature, now dubbed Organism 46B, was seized by Russian officials, and the team was told to keep this quiet.
Antarctica, under the ice is where the action is. I was contacted by a special operations guy. He gave me his entire experience in one of the cities of the giants beneath the ice that are basically dictating to the rulers on Earth and getting us set up for a one-world government. The first Secretary of Defense was murdered when he wanted to come forth and tell America and the American people what was really going on. The true history of the world is covered over and covered up. There are 3 craft that have been found that are actual motherships under the ice in Antarctica. These motherships are literally 30 miles wide. So when they infiltrated these bases, they saw reptilian-looking humanoids defending their home turf. And that was very traumatizing and shocking to many of these Marines when they saw this. All of this stuff at some point is going to be brought forth publicly.
So, a new video has just been released from the dark web which shows what appears to be pyramids in Antarctica. So I sent this video to someone who has been over there, and they said that these things do actually exist there, and that they're actually energy conductors. Now, this is coming from the guy that said he went to the continent of Patasia back in 2020, and he traveled in a submarine over to the ice wall, over here, the Leviathan's Gate, and he saw those pyramids at the ice wall. And this guy isn't the first person who has said that the pyramids had energy properties. I mean, look at a computer motherboard compared to a sky view of the pyramid in Egypt. It is pretty much exactly the same, so perhaps the ancient Egyptians were doing some kind of massive technological electric thing.
Family, we are cracking the code and they don't like it. Look, you see this? Look, snow everywhere. And look at this huge sign over here, like a horse and a chariot. It looks like a huge city and walls surrounding it. It's all beyond the ice wall of Antarctica. And look at this Freemason looking structure. Also found beyond the ice wall in the Antarctica. Now it's forbidden to go beyond the ice wall. But look what the 1912 article is saying. Scott beaten to the pole by Amundsen. This is Captain Roald Amundsen. And this is Captain Robin Falcon Scott, the one who took the pictures. Pictures like this one, family. Like this one, and this one. And this giant human sculpture in the middle of nowhere. And family, what is this giant structure over here? Was this the start of Operation Looking Glass, family?
Not one, but two maps from the 1500s show Antarctica with no ice. Yes, you heard me right. Both the Piri-Reis map from 1513 and the Urbano Monte from 1587, two of the world's oldest maps, depict Antarctica without any ice. Both of these works are truly extraordinary pieces of art, and they've had even the most esteemed scholars baffled for years. On top of Antarctica with no ice, which I'm going to share a theory as to why that is later in the video, they have depictions of all kinds of odd mythological creatures, at least thought to be mythological. We'll go over those as well. Let's start with the Piri-Reis, saving the best for last, the Urbano Monte. The Piri-Reis map is a world map created by Ottoman Turkish cartographer Ahmed Muhyiddin Piri in 1513. The map has caused a lot of buzz and grabbed the attention of some of the most esteemed historians because it appears to show an ice-free Antarctic coastline. If this is the case, then someone had to have discovered and mapped it centuries before its reported discovery in 1773. Alleged to be the oldest map in the world, it was buried for centuries, until in 1929, when director Halil Edhem went through the basement of a Turkish palace looking for old maps at the request of German theologian Gustav Adolf Deissmann. While rummaging through the palace basement, Edhem happened to stumble upon a very mysterious looking artifact. The small map was inked on animal skin, so he immediately knew it had to be old. As he picked it up, he quickly noticed only a fraction of it remained. As he handed it to Gustav, the German theologian thought it looked like any old map, until he noticed something peculiar about it. As he inspected it closer, he couldn't believe what they had discovered. They'd identify it as the Piri-Reis map of 1513. And it's said to be the only map in existence that referenced the last remaining work from Christopher Columbus himself. This was because Reyes' uncle, who personally sailed with Columbus over 20 years prior, had a hand-drawn map from Christopher's collection that he left Reyes in his will. It's even said that this was one of Columbus's lost maps, so Reyes' reproduction was the only representation available of Christopher Columbus's map at the time. After much study, historians were baffled to find that not only did Reyes accurately include depictions of the Canary, Azores, and Atlantic Islands, but it's believed he even had precise depictions of Antarctica's coastline. But Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1773. So how in the world did somebody represent it on a map almost 250 years prior? Regardless of the map's amazing traits, it would be disregarded again for another 35 years, until 1965.
Squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth. It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. His airplane is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around them that lead him to the ground. Whereupon he's escorted into a cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons and how they've recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet. They tell Admiral Byrd that they hope that humanity will ultimately stop.
Y'all seen this yet? Allegedly, there's a warm ocean behind the ice wall of Antarctica. Secret photos of another civilization from the 1912 expedition. Based on dozens of well-known arguments and reasons, there are well-kept secrets in Antarctica. Maybe alien bases, an entrance to the hollow earth, or even a nice big warm ocean. In 1912, a famous British polar explorer of the early 20th century, Robert Scott, ended tragically in 1913. Only a few surviving members of the eminent explorer's team returned to the mainland alive. They brought with them unique photographic materials and perhaps shed light on the mythical ice wall, one of the secrets of Antarctica. According to rumors and legends, the wall passes through the entire ice continent. This is allegedly some of those pictures. What do y'all think that is? Or that right there. Looks pretty interesting to me. Homeboy's suited up right here, ain't he? Not quite sure what these things are. Hold on. I don't know. What do y'all think? It's all alleged anyway, but, you know, what do y'all think?
The Tartaria theory suggests that an ancient and advanced civilization called Tartaria was deliberately erased from history . According to this theory, Tartaria built sophisticated cities and was overshadowed by Western powers. However, most historians reject this theory due to a lack of concrete evidence and its primarily internet-based origins.
Supporters continue to debate, but the Tartaria theory remains controversial.
To this, I guess. This is what becomes Antarctica. This is what becomes Australia. So, by finding dinosaur fossils in Australia, but dating them back to this time period, then yes, of course, it would make sense that there were dinosaurs on what is now Antarctica. We see this reflected too in the Triassic period. This is 200 million years ago. Here are a few photographs of the dig site in Australia with the feathers, the plume of feathers. And so it makes sense that if you lived in a colder climate, you would need feathers to stay warm. Looks like a regular bird. It's pretty. The reason I put this on the iceberg at all is because it's kind of like a prereq or a foreshadowing to this. Next, Antarctic Treaty. Click. This one's short and sweet. In 1959, almost every country decided collectively that we were not gonna mess with Antarctica. Despite our history of waging war, disagreeing, lack of cohesion, this just so happens to be the one place that we're not gonna bother. And since 1959, we have all adhered to this. This, of course, invites in theories of why? Why is this the one place that we all agreed to not mess with and fight over? One side of the argument is, well, we need to preserve this one last frontier that we haven't basically ruined because Agent Smith was right, humans are viruses. And by not ruining it, we can help keep our climate at a more homeostatic level. And then on the other end of the argument is, well, by doing that, you're keeping us out, so why are you keeping us out? Why is it's like sus that it's the one place you guys agree to not fight over? Next, this one's also quick. No-fly zone. Click. Antarctica has a strict no-fly zone over the continent, and some people believe that it's because they don't want us seeing anything, taking pictures, Others believe that it's because you'd be flying over the South Pole. Duh. It would ruin your compass. You wouldn't know where you were going. You would probably crash. Valid arguments on both sides, I guess. Let's skip over here really quick. German expedition. Boop. In the years leading up to World War II, Germany sent an expedition out to Antarctica. Now, the mainstream reason for this is that Germany wanted to find things they could utilize for their equipment and for their people before the war. One of the things they wanted to harvest was whale oil, and that comes from blubber, and that's high in fat, so it's flammable. So you can use that as oil for various products. And because this was before the Antarctic Treaty was signed, then they were well within their right to do that. But some, of course, believe that there were other reasons behind this expedition. If you've read stuff about Mustache Man, then you know that he was eerily into occult stuff, like Helena Blavatsky type stuff. So in addition to looking for resources, declaring new land, because this is pre-treaty, he may have also been looking for things that we would categorize as occult. And when I say occult, I mean things akin to extraterrestrial artifacts, crafts, etc. So moving laterally a little bit, if you are familiar at all with the story of German flying saucers, this idea of like UFO craft made by Nazi Germany, this is where it would tie in. Did they maybe go on this expedition and find technology they would need in order to try to build that, right? Alright, next, Operation High Jump. Click. High Jump is actually a huge and deep topic and it deserves its own video, but for this we'll be brief. High Jump is another expedition that took place pre-treaty in order to go to Antarctica and establish a base. This base was going to be called Little America, which incidentally was here in the same area that the Yazis went to explore. The goal was to start here and explore around looking for different areas to establish different bases, perform military training in high frigid conditions, and to overall study the electromagnetic, geological, meteorological, geographic, and topographic conditions of the continent. All led by this guy, Admiral Byrd. One of the mysterious parts of the operation which then led to controversy was the sheer amount of manpower they brought with them on the expedition. It wasn't a couple of Humpty Dumpty people wearing parkas. 13 ships, 26 aircraft, and over 5,000 dudes. That's a lot of people to just do some exploring. Now this invites theories that while under the guise of a regular expedition, this was actually something more in line with what the Third Reich was doing. Looking for secret technology, looking for crafts, looking for artifacts, looking for others. And some believe that they were successful. Two main bullet points about why the expedition was weird was its ironic ending, unfavorable weather conditions, and the sudden and mysterious death of Admiral Byrd. It really deserves it's a huge topic. This one's not though. Next, Atlantis. Click. Some believe that the continent of Antarctica is actually Atlantis. While Plato's story tells us that Atlantis was sunk, some believe that this actually means under ice. This theory was made popular by Charles Hapgood if you've ever read The Shifting Crust. It discusses a geographical pole shift where there's like a doomsday situation, and that would mean, in theory, if there's a 90-degree turn, then Antarctica is actually in the middle of what we now call the Atlantic, hence Atlantis. However, I don't know if it really holds a lot of water, because Atlantis, you would imagine Atlantis, Atlantic Ocean, but that would mean that it would have to be here, so how would it have a pole shift and it would be shifted down here? Everything else would move respectively, right? Okay, let's get back to this side. The face. Boop. According to various Google images before Google Earth made it to where you can't look at Antarctica, somebody found a face. Many people attribute this to pareidolia, it's just the phenomena of people making things anthropomorphized, I guess. Obviously you can make it out. Now, yeah, it looks like this up close, but hold on, let's zoom out. So zoomed out a little bit more, and zoomed out a little bit more. Now it kind of just looks like it's part of a mountain range. So, maybe, maybe not, but one thing that's interesting about it is that it looks similar to the face of Cydonia on Mars. This is an image of the Cydonia region on Mars. This is the face. Here's a closer view of the face. The first time we took an image, it looked like really good, and then as time went on, it continued to look bad. Now, some people theorize that this was like done on purpose. Some people think that as technology got better, somehow the picture became less defined. But just to show a possible theoretical link between a face on another planet and a face on our own planet. I guess in theory this would mean that it's like some super tall statue from a long time ago that fell, or I guess it would fall backwards if the face was up. That's what I think this theory is saying. Okay, next, pyramids. Click. This is less attributed to pareidolia and more of a, no, this is just like a regular geological formation. Then some areas, again, via Google Earth, we have found pyramid-like structures. Side view, top view, obviously it looks pretty exact. Just an image showing that same pyramid in Antarctica compared to one on like desert land. And so people have tried to do the math on this and thought, well, yeah, that actually does look like a man-made structure. Other people combat this by saying, no, it just so happened to be perfect the way that the snow fell and the way that the winds blow. It actually just ends up looking like it, but these aren't the droids that you're looking for. And then, like, in this image, too, it shows, like, little pyramids. So, again, like, what does that make you think of? Big pyramid, little pyramid, kind of similar to, like, Giza, right? Okay, next. A little bit weirder, ice wall and hollow earth, and then we've got to pull these two in with it. Click. This Fourth theory is a theory that at both poles there is like a portal that takes you into Agartha, which is the inside world. This then ties in with the no-fly zone and not being able to go to the South Pole because really there's actually a portal that takes you into the Middle Earth. I'm running out of time. Okay, military and UFO bases kind of speak for themselves. So little people, giants, and the UFO crash that I forgot to add. Click, click, click. According to Google Earth images, it looks like there may have been a UFO crash site. Kind of looks like, and then it slides, image from up higher, so like, what is that? The little people thing, it might be a troll, it might be not. I tried to look up if this was fake and I couldn't find anything one way or another. That there is like a 600 million year old fossil, like a little tiny human found in Antarctica. Apparently it looks like this. I don't know if it's a troll or not, maybe not. I'm an open-minded person. Homo floresiensis, one of our ancestors, was not a lot taller than that. That deserves its own video too. Then the size of those fossils in Antarctica kind of are like the same size as this remain that's found in Chile. On the other side of the spectrum, maybe we found a giant, again, via Google Earth images.
Thank